I'm Alice Evan, and I live for adventure. On the road less travelled is where I want to be. Some of the most remote places left on Earth are only accessible by sea, so I need to learn how to sail. And I need a boat. Like the explorers of the past, I'll leave my home and journey across the water.
See you later, New Zealand!
And out there, in all that blue, as captain of my own ship, I'll be tested like never before. My course is set for the far-flung islands of the South Pacific, to discover the isolated people, raw beauty, and the secrets of those forgotten shores. Let the voyage begin. It's been 44 days since I set sail from New Zealand on my journey through the South Pacific, and Fiji is my next stop. I'm clearing customs on the largest island, Viti Levu, in the capital city of Suva. I've finally arrived in Fiji, and I can't wait to go and explore. Fiji is an archipelago of 333 islands. Only about 1/3 of them are inhabited. Early European explorers found Fiji to be a dangerous place, with treacherous coral reefs, warring tribes, and unpredictable cannibals. You can sense the deep history here in Fiji, and I find myself surrounded not only by its beautiful geography, but its rich mosaic of cultures and fascinating spiritual heritage. In ancient Fijian folklore, a god named Dakuwaga took the form of a shark. Seafarers and fishermen would honour the god, often putting food into the water as an offering. Today, I've got a chance to go and meet some of these Fijian gods up close and personal. I'm going to get a chance to go and dive with sharks. Spending time with the sharks for me is not only about diving in these pristine waters, but it's also about exploring this ancient Fijian spiritual belief. I'm going to go out with some local divers who go out and actually feed the sharks, and they've been doing this for 18 years. These are big sharks, big predators of the ocean. Some of these sharks that you're diving with, especially the bull sharks, I mean, they're quite infamous, aren't they?
Bull sharks can be found in tropical water, temperate water, and fresh water. Wherever you're swimming, you just have more opportunity to run into a bull shark. Their reputation as man-eaters and killers is really undeserved.
Yeah.
What I want you to take away from this dive once you leave us is a decent, healthy respect for these animals, but also a greater appreciation for them.
Yeah.
To see the things that your fears are based on are not true, that they're not mindless killing machines. They're not just looking for that weak moment where they can come in and get us. And so I want you to leave here a shark advocate.
I've forgotten your name, I'm sorry.
Right there. Turks.
Yeah. That's handy. Why did you decide to start swimming with sharks?
For me, it's safe diving with sharks than driving a car. I really want to feed the sharks like the way I feed my kids. So once they get food, I'm happy. They're happy, I'm happy.
Brendan told me a little story about Turks, and it really blew me away. He'd been offered a very lucrative rugby league contract in Australia. He turned it down to become a shark diver.
When they heard that I was starting to feed the sharks, all the oldies from the village, they just give me advice. Just look after yourself, but keep doing what you're doing.
We just stopped to get some of the fish to feed the sharks. This is just byproduct from a fish factory. These sharks are not there all the time. We're going to be chumming the water in order to get the sharks to come to us. Of course, that comes with its own controversy as well. Many people believe that you shouldn't feed the sharks, as the sharks will then associate humans with food. And this also changes the dynamics of the ecosystem. But the flip side of the coin is seeing these sharks firsthand and changing the public's perception that these are not mindless killers of the ocean. I'm really excited about this opportunity, but at the same time I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't a little bit apprehensive. look at all these fish. Whoa, all sorts of different species. What we're doing right now is just turning on a food valve. Somewhere in the middle of that feeding frenzy is Cook. All of this activity from above should start to bring in the bigger sharks. And right on cue, here they come. The light is almost blocked out by the fish above us. Got one coming in. Bull shark! It's funny to think that these sharks actually have to get the courage up to come close enough to us as humans to take the food from our hands. Whoa, look at the size of that guy. That shark was less than a metre in front of my face when it took that fish head. Oh, hello. Oh, that was close. Forgot where I was for a second. Forgot that I wasn't wearing a chainmail suit. Bull sharks have the strongest bite force, weight for weight, of any other shark in the world. Any one of these sharks could attack all of us divers down there, but they don't.
The fishing industry needs a healthy apex predator number out there. I just want, long lining to be stopped for sharks and shark fin soup. There is greater economic value in these animals being alive than dead.
You can't be down there, without your perspective being changed.
Exactly.
I've really come to Fiji to explore the more outer islands. But before I do, I want to explore Suva. Not far from here, across the water on the island of Benga, legend tells of a sacred power passed down by a spirit god. The ability to walk across smouldering hot rocks without getting burnt. I seem to have got myself in over my head again. I've agreed to go firewalking Fijian style. Tonight, descendants of the Sawa tribe from Benga Island are going to show me how it's done. So, Manaka, you're going to teach me how to do it, right?
Yes, if you want to, then I'll teach you how to do it.
That'll be awesome. I'm not going to get burnt, am I?
No.
You didn't seem that. You didn't seem that sure.
It's like 400 to 600 degrees Celsius.
That makes me feel a lot better.
We have to pray to the Almighty, then we do power.
I probably need a minute. Oh wow, there's a lot of you. So we're just taking out the burning logs, just leaving a few hot embers now and these scalding hot rocks. Why are you not getting burned? They're not even rushing as they walk over the stones. They're just standing there looking me in the eye. Can you ask the chief if I can have a go?
It's really, really hot.
Yeah, I know.
You can burn yourself.
Yeah, I know. Can I just pour a bit of water on this one? Yeah, that's hot. I'd say that's warm. All right, good to know. It's funny in life, sometimes you just have to take that first step across that barrier of fear, and once you're across, then you're away, you know. It's warm! I was like, oh, this is not too bad, not too bad. And I keep thinking maybe it was delayed pain or something.
So it's not a joke.
No, it's not a joke.
Yeah, it's
but
real.
How does it work?
You better ask him.
It's the gods.
Yeah.
It really is.
You better ask him.
I know.
He gives it, so he can take it away.
He really is looking after me.
Yeah.
The firewalking tradition keeps on passing down from generation to generation. It was a gift from our forefathers, so we have to keep this tradition alive to the next generation.
The Sawa are not the only ones who practice firewalking here in Fiji. A completely different ritual of firewalking came to Fiji from the south of India. The ceremony happens only once a year in late July or early August. It happens right here in Suva. This festival goes for about 10 days, and I'm just in time to see it for myself. In 1874, Fiji became a British colony and remained under British control for nearly a century before gaining independence. Around the turn of the 20th century, the British brought over around 60,000 indentured workers from India to work the sugarcane fields, as they did with many other colonies. 100 years after being brought over in great numbers, the Indo-Fijians make up approximately 40% of the country's population of roughly 900,000 people. The annual Hindu firewalking festival here in Suva is one way for the Indo-Fijian population to consolidate and celebrate their sense of place not only as Hindus but as members of the Fijian nation.
Basically, the reason why we are walking on fire is for everyone to have peace of heart, peace of mind and peace of soul. All of us have got sometimes bad habits, temper, we like to show off. At least once a year, I come to this temple, give up everything that I normally enjoy to burn away all the negative things away from your life. Once you leave here, you are totally changed.
With the firewalk, do you ever worry that somebody's going to get badly burned?
The discipline has to be there. You have to give up everything. As long you follow what you have asked for, there shouldn't be any issues.
You've been coming here for the longest time of pretty much most anyone. What makes you keep coming back?
My two brothers died prematurely, and we were given guidance. Come to this particular temple. My mother did, and she vowed her next son or daughter, she will give it as a sacrifice to this particular temple. And here I am today.
So you started when you were just a small child?
6 years old.
And every year you walk through the fire?
Walk and then also lead these people.
Are you walking this time?
Time will tell.
So I wear this today?
Yeah, you can have it for life.
I feel like you're my mother dressing me.
Am I? Well, I'm old enough to be.
One of the things I did mention, though, that I'm a little concerned about, I have to be whipped in order to be able to get access inside, and the whipping is designed to make sure I don't have impure thoughts, and so I'm probably going to get a few lashings. He went pretty easy on me. He only gave me a very light whipping. He obviously doesn't know me very well, otherwise I probably should still be there getting whipped now. This year there's about 30 devotees that'll be completing the whole firewalking ceremony. But the one thing that really surprises me is this young kids doing it, as young as 9 and 10 years old. Have you done everything that the adults have done? Fasting, not sleeping much, haven't been drinking alcohol, have you?
No.
These guys are making a miracle come true right now, teaching me to dance. This is a true marathon. Music, dancing, it's just been non-stop. What happens now, the firewalking fire will be lit. Right now, the flame is deep inside this pile of wood. Soon, the whole thing will be engulfed in flame. How long does it take before the flames start to come out?
Everything happens when it's going to happen, mate.
Okay. The fire is roaring and the heat coming off it is just tremendous. I'm about 4 meters back from the fire and it's all that I can stand. Well, it's not long to go now, just a couple of hours before the firewalk could take place. Behind me is what's left of the major bonfire that was lit last night. Very soon the devotees will cleanse themselves in the ocean, and if that's not enough, all of the sacrifices that are made over the last 10 days, they will then pierce their bodies before walking back to the temple and then performing the firewalk. What is the significance of the piercing?
All the torturing and suffering, let's suffer it here so that we are blessed with freedom in the next birth.
Behind me is the goddess Draupadi, goddess of fire. She's sitting square to the fire pits, and when the devotees are ready to take their first step, they'll look up, look square into her eyes, and it is believed that she will help protect them as they walk across the red-hot embers. So tell me, what was it like? Very powerful? And your feet didn't get any burns? You've been awesome.
This ceremony is such an important part of the Hindu community here in Fiji, and I was shocked to hear from Kieran that he fears it could be lost.
I'm going to leave a legacy behind. It's very unfortunate that nobody has come forward to learn my responsibilities. I can't talk with about this, it really annoys me. I'm here to give it to them. I'm here to share with them.
But it really surprises me that people are not stepping up, because I see so many enthusiastic people.
If you believe in faith, do not believe in faith for a one-night, two-night thing. It's not an overnight thing.
Yeah.
And I request everyone to come forward and keep the tradition of the religion which has been brought from India to the country alive.
I'm preparing to head away to the Lao group of islands. In order to access these islands and villages, it's customary to take a gift to the chief called sabu sabu, and that gift is normally kava. Kava is the root from a plant, and it's dried out, it's ground up, and it's turned into a drink. And basically that allows me access into some of these remote areas. So, I'm on the lookout for kava. I'm told the kava isn't in the main market, it's actually upstairs. I want to take it as a gift for somebody.
So village?
Yeah, like a village, yeah.
Well, you have to tie it up like that.
If you want, we can make it for you.
All right. Thanks a lot. Got my ticket to the Lao group. All set. All right, thank you.
Bye.
The only thing that's standing in my way now is about 2 days sail, so let's get on it. I'm back out in the blue. All the sails are up, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next.
There's heaps of squalls around. They're actually all the way around me. I like a little storm that passes overhead, and sometimes they just bring rain, but other times they bring strong winds, and you never know. I've reefed in the main, which means I've pulled some of the main down to reduce the sail area. So if one of these squalls comes through and brings a lot of wind with it, I'm not going to be overpowered with my sails. It's quite dramatic weather. The waves are coming in and they make the boat roll, so just hopefully none of these little storms turn into a big storm. Storms are a great test of character. It reminds me of how exposed and vulnerable I am out here. Luckily, this one passed by morning. I remember when I lost sight of land for the very first time. It scared me. I felt vulnerable and alone and intimidated out here in the blue. But something's changed within me, and it's started to feel comfortable. I have everything I need on board Rory Moore. It's my home, it's my whole world. I feel like I'm in rhythm with the vessel. Now I can draw a course on a map and go wherever I want. The Lau Group is the most remote part of Fiji. It comprises of around 60 islands. But there's one destination in the Lau Group that's really drawing me in. It's the island of Fulanga, and you can only access it by water. And that's why I'm going. I think it's about 400 people that live on this island in 3 villages. I have to find one of those villages, Moana Taki, and I have to find the chief and give him an offering. I was told to look out for a landmark of a shed, and there's a little boat shed on the beach here, so I'm guessing this is the right place. I've just run into Bill here. So he's offered to show me the village and take me over and introduce me to the chief. And that's where I'm going to present the Kava route. Hopefully that'll be my ticket to be able to stay on the island and explore the island. Hopefully he'll grant permission. I'm a bit nervous to meet him. So Bill has to get his traditional dress on in order to meet the chief and present the savu savu. Should I wear one of those? Do you have a spare one? When in Rome. All good? Apparently the chief has been forewarned that I'm on my way. He's very old, he's almost 90 years old. So I hope he wasn't sleeping or resting. It's 2 days sailing back to Viti Levu if they don't accept my Kava offering. Worse than that, I won't be able to explore here. All I can do is hope for the best. That's the end of the ceremony, presenting the Kava?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Permission's been granted to be on the island and stay here for the next few days. Yeah, there was quite a bit riding on that, so yeah, the island is my oyster right now. I met Ty, one of the village elders, and he's this really sweet old man. He's invited me back to his home and he's going to tell me some of the deep history of this island. Okay to come in?
You're welcome, my friend. Come in. Hey, just put your shoes on.
No.
Please.
No, take them off.
This is our home. Put it on.
No. I'm taking them off. That's polite. I'm really fascinated with that old Fijian culture and the ways that maybe aren't practiced today.
It's a village people ready to build the house of the chief. Before they dig the hole for the post of the house, they will kill one lady or one man to bury in the hole and put the post right inside the hole and start to put the beam and everything.
I mean, that sounds horrific. But this was many generations ago, many hundreds of years ago.
They don't kill any people now. They make a very big feast, killing pigs and goats and cows, and we don't kill people anymore, like the old people.
So who told you these stories?
It's my grandfather.
What are the legends and stories? Because I find this really fascinating.
The name of his island is Fulanga, and another name is Ponuaseu. Ponuaseu means if you see the rooster, that's our chicken. When they search for food in the ground, they usually use their legs to scratch all the stone, and the stone gone. Some on the southern side, some on the northern side, some on the eastern side, western side, in the middle.
So it was the rooster scratching, flicking out all the stones.
All the stone around.
And that's what created the islands out in the lagoon. Fulanga's like this explorer's paradise, an endless playground. But that's why I'm undertaking this journey, to seek out these places. It's just gorgeous. You can climb up to the top of peaks and look at the amazing view around you. I climbed up onto one of the higher islands, and it's such a commanding view of the atoll. Hundreds of islands all around me. Everything from the mountains to the sea is mine to explore. Doesn't get much better than this. This is paradise. Had a pretty awesome day, and there's no better way to finish it off than sleeping out under the stars. I've come back to the village for the day. Moanataki is the main village of Fulanga. It's small, but in many ways perfect, and time here feels like a meaningless concept. As I walk through the village, I keep getting pulled into people's homes. They want to share their culture with me. It's amazing to see how industrious these people are. They go into the bush, they know the exact plant to go to, they pick the leaves, they dry the leaves, and then they spend days and sometimes even weeks plaiting these pieces of art. So Maka has been telling me that she's been making this mat, and it's for her newborn granddaughter. Yeah. And her daughter, who lives in Suva, is coming in 1 week's time. So you've almost finished. Yeah. You've just got the last little bit to put on. Yeah. I look at this, it would take me a year to make something like this. But Mata has said that it's taken her only 1 week to make this mat. And now she's putting the edge on it. It's the final touch for her granddaughter, which is pink. The people of Fulanga are known for their carving, and the skills have been handed down from generation to generation. And these skills are highly protected. I met Suki, who's head of the village. He invited me into his home and he showed me some of his carving, and they're just pure works of art. How long did it take you to make this?
1 week.
And why is wood carving so important to the people of Fulanga?
That's the only things that they earn their everything in their family. If you sell this bowl, we divided the money to each and every group of us.
These carvings are some of the major exports from the island, and sometimes they'll spend weeks on a single piece and then send it to Suva in the hope that it'll sell. It's very heavy. It's a very dense wood, isn't it?
It's only one wood we mostly used for the wood carving. That's only the hardwood one. We call it a savesi.
These carvings are made from a particular type of hardwood, but the fact that the timber is getting harder to find is a real worry for Soki. How long did it take you to carve this one? I know it's not finished yet, but...
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks.
So this is a really large kava bowl, and this would be for a big group of people coming together from the village to drink kava. And it's one piece of wood?
Only one piece of wood.
There's a very important piece down here, this triangular piece at the bottom. There's some inserts of shell that go in there. That always has to face the chief, and that's a sign of respect.
Before you leave here, you must try some kava.
I don't know, I'm going to have to taste it first. Do you like the flavour?
I like the taste of kava.
I can't wait to try it. It's hard to believe in this idyllic paradise that this was a place of war, and there was a lot of battles over this land between the Tongans and the Fijians. Villages even relocated in order to protect themselves. The village here on the island moved up onto the top of the hill so they could see their enemies coming.
Okay, this is the way to the...
Ty has asked me to come up into the hills above the village. There's something he really wants to show me. He said that it'll help me understand the past here on Fulanga. We're just making our way up the steep hill behind the village. There's no real trail, we're just walking through the bush. So this is it. Wow. This is it right here. So we climb inside there?
Yeah.
There's just a pile of skeletons and skulls just mounded up in this cave. Some up on the ledges as well. It's pretty surreal. I'm trying really hard right now not to stand on dead people.
In olden days, I heard the stories from my grandfather. They used to fight. People who sail from Tonga to Fiji, they sail in the Aotearoa canoe. And now people, they stay in the hill, up here, the hill. And they have to fight each other.
It's unbelievable to be able to cross such vast distances of ocean without any of the luxuries or the navigational equipment that we have today. And then to come from a far off land to conquer. Sometimes I guess they were successful, but other times they weren't. I see that some of them have what looks to be injuries.
Yes. Like this one here, there's a crack on there. They have their weapon to the throwing club. And they have the war club too. A big, long one, they have to smash the people with it.
Yeah.
And they used to eat people too.
I was told when you killed your enemy there was no greater revenge than eating his flesh.
That is it, yeah.
You talked about your grandfather remembering the times of the cannibalism.
He remember the story.
From his father?
From his father. And my grandfather tell the stories to me.
When did cannibalism end?
There were two missionaries who come from England to Fiji, and they bring their Bible with him, and they said, no more cannibalism, and they changed their life.
Coming here and seeing these skeletons in this cave is a window into a past that we can not really understand or will never see for ourselves. Luckily, never see. Ty's taking me up to the top of the hill where the village once was. And the reason why they lived on top of the island is so they could have a commanding view all around the island and see their enemies coming. And they're the same enemies that are down in that cave.
You can see down below here, their weapon, the stone they carry from down there up here.
So they were big and strong.
Yeah.
Carry these boulders up here. This is why some of those people are in the cave down there.
They have a hit on the head.
Big one. Oh, you're strong.
So when they see the enemy,
yeah,
coming up, and they throw stone.
Wow. Don't throw it. Maybe there's children down there. You can just see for miles out to sea.
That's where they came through there. When they see the smoke from up here, and they follow up, and they think that the people are living here.
Are you saying they would light the fires so that it would be like a trap?
That's right. My grandfather told me this story. And the big people, the men have to stand up here with a big stone ready to throw them.
Drums have started, and that signifies that everyone is meant to come to church, and I think it starts at 10 o'clock, which is in a few minutes. I put this on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to wear one of these in church?
It's like a traditional dress for us.
Okay. Like many of the Pacific Islands, missionaries came to Fiji in the early to mid-1800s, and they brought Christianity, and in doing so they changed the belief system throughout the Pacific. It's amazing to see that 200 years later, those ideas and belief systems still live on, and everybody goes to church on Sundays. So that's a regular Sunday church service?
Very important part of the service is the sermon. The sermon is about people you don't know. When you meet him the first time, you show your respect from the bottom of your heart.
And so that's what you did for me. I felt that too. So thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll go to our house and have a big lunch.
Thank you everyone for inviting me into your home.
Help yourself.
Help yourself.
Cabbage and the curry,
Roti.
clams.
Most of the food here has been grown on the island or caught out on the reef there with the fish and the clams. This just speaks to how reliant these people are on the island and how self-sufficient the island is. As an outsider coming to a place like this, it feels like paradise, and you can't imagine why anyone would want to leave. But the reality is people do leave and they don't come back.
Many of them, when they go to the mainland for school, then they get a job and they move to Suva rather than come back to the island.
You went to Suva for school.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to come back?
In here we don't buy things. Most things we just get it on our own. We plant our fruits, our crops and vegetables, we just plant it. And the seafood, we just go and get it from the sea. We don't buy it. In Suva, everything is expensive. We buy everything. In here, we just get it for free.
Is your son going to go to school in Suva eventually?
After he's done with his studies in here, then we'll move to Suva.
Do you hope he comes back?
If he decided to stay there, then...
You have to keep telling him to come back and look after Mum when he's older. For me, coming to the island of Fulanga, this is paradise. I want to live here. I've never been into a place where the people are so warm-hearted and open and friendly. This is my last day. I leave tomorrow. I'm probably one of the very few visitors that'll make it here to this island this year. And I've got to keep reminding myself that the key to it is having your own transportation. A whole new world has opened up to me to go and explore and to travel. I've been invited to a party tonight, and the party is actually a farewell party for me. So this is the kava root that's being pounded into a fine powder, and that powder will then make the kava drink. Back home we might use a machine for this, but here there are no machines, so everything has to be done by hand. Can I have a turn? Yeah, thank you. Watch your feet. He was like, all right. I think I found my calling. You tell me if I'm doing this right. Mind your toes, mind your toes. Yeah. There's quite a process in making the kava. You take the kava root, it's crushed into a very fine powder. There's one big communal bowl, and then that kava is mixed with the water, and the water is essentially strained through the cloth. Some of the finer particles are washed out and then make the drink itself. It's really the social aspect that's the most important part of kava drinking, and it really brings people together from the village. It's hard to describe. It's a very strong taste. maybe tastes a little bit like muddy water, but kind of with a bit of a zing to it. And you can just feel your lips and your tongue just start to tingle a little. I think just part of why they drink it. Is your food, is it okay here if you left for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah? Are you a good dancer? Do you like dancing?
No, I didn't know how to dance.
Ah, because I was going to ask you to dance. Come on. The real beauty is in the people that live here. It's really humbling. And then tonight they wanted to sincerely say goodbye. I just find it so surprising when people come up to me and shake my hand and say thank you for coming to our village. It's kind of this whole role reversal. But it just shows how gracious these people are, and it also shows how few people come here. It's going to be hard to leave. One of the people that I really bonded with is Ty. Ooh. Make sure it doesn't land on your head, Ty.
I think about 2 liters inside. I think we can share this.
When I said I'd like to keep in touch with him and I asked him for his email address and he said, I don't have email. And I thought, how stupid of me. I mean, you know, there isn't any cell coverage here. There isn't even a telephone. We take for granted in this global world just keeping in touch. And we can do it instantly. Here, that's not possible. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother.
Oh, my God. Nectar from the gods.
Okay, Alex.
Take care, man.
Yeah, same to you.
I will always remember you.
Me too, I always remember you.
We're friends.
We're friends too. I love you right from the bottom of my heart.
And one day I come back and visit.
Yeah, I'll be waiting.
Take care, man.
Same to you.
Coming from New Zealand, I always thought of the South Pacific Islands as part of our backyard. And through marketing, I saw Fiji as a mecca for beachfront hotels and resorts and tourists looking for that tropical island fix. How wrong I was. This little country is so diverse. It's a mosaic of cultures and traditions, history, myths and legends. The people here, they have huge smiles and even bigger hearts. This place truly has surprised me. It's wowed me, it's fascinated me. And if you're willing to get off the beaten path, away from the hotels and resorts, it really is a playground for an adventurer.